right, let's take up Miss Green. And how do you pronounce your first name? Is it Karis? Cirrus?
It's Karis.
Okay. We are on the record in 2022 CR 136, State of Kansas versus Karis. Is it Juana? Juno?
Juno.
Juno, like the, okay, Juno Green. Karis Juno Green. Miss Jill Gillette, County Attorney for the state. Miss Green in person and pro se. Okay, does Miss Green still have an outstanding warrant? Where are you, Miss Green?
Yes, she does, Your Honor.
Okay, where are you, Miss Green?
In Alaska.
Do you know you failed to come to court?
Yes, I do.
Why did you fail to come to court?
Well, honestly, I got mixed up on my days, and when I looked at I looked down on my phone and I saw that it was the 13th, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's the 13th, and it was like hours had passed because I forgot about the time difference too, and so I called the person I'm supposed to check in with every week, but she didn't answer. I'm assuming because it was probably too late, and yeah.
Okay, so on August 22nd, you posted a $7,500 bond with us. Who's Cynthia Miller?
That's my mom.
Okay, you just cost her $7,500 by not coming to court. She's going to lose that.
There's no way that
And that was a cash bond, it looks like, with the paying party authorizing the money to be paid to the cost of the case. Then you post another bond on September 13th. Let's look at that. No, that's probably the same one. Yeah. Yeah, you were supposed to be here September 13th and you didn't. So same bond, but that's for the forfeiture of it. And then you had a failure to appear warrant. And now we're looking at motion. 5 days ago, there was supposed to be a motion for judgment on bond. Was that heard and granted, Ms. Gillette?
It's scheduled for November 18th at 1. The forfeiture is scheduled for November. That was the date that was given to us.
Do you get the impression that maybe it was a big deal to forget court, Ms. Green? Okay. Well, you haven't had your reading of your rights and charges since you failed to come to court when you were supposed to. So let's go over the charge. You've got a pretty big charge here. It's in count 1. You're accused of unlawful possession of the controlled substance methamphetamine. That is a level 5 drug felony. If you are to be convicted of that, depending on what your criminal history is, you could serve at least 10 months, up to 42 months in the Kansas Department of Corrections, which we commonly call prison. Okay, up to 42 months in prison. Is your hair more important than your prison sentence? Okay, because you seem like you're distracted with your hair, and I would expect you to be attuned to this prison sentence that you're looking at of 10 to 42 months. You're also looking at a potential fine up to $100,000 if convicted. In count two, you're accused of unlawfully possessing drug paraphernalia in the form of a glass vial, hollow pens, syringes, rolling papers, and a glass smoking pipe, possessed with the intent to either contain, conceal, inject, ingest, inhale, or otherwise introduce a controlled substance into the human body. This is a Class B non-person misdemeanor, which means after you get through with your prison sentence, you could be ordered to come back to the Greenwood County Jail and serve another 6 months and pay another fine up to $1,000. So do you have any questions about what they're saying you did and what the possible penalties are that I've gone over with you?
No.
Do you intend to hire an attorney or apply for court appointed?
Applied for court appointed.
Do you work?
Not yet. I've been actively looking for a job though.
When did you start actively looking for a job?
When I got out of jail.
And when was that? September? It was August, wasn't it?
It was August 27th, I believe, or 28th.
Okay. And you went straight back to Alaska?
Yeah.
Are you living with someone there?
Yeah.
Who?
My mom.
I thought your bond, well, never mind. Okay. So your mom is supporting you. How old are you?
24.
What's the highest level of education you have?
Some college,
How much?
for a semester.
Did you pay for that out of your own pocket?
I applied for the FAFSA grants.
So you got federal grants to go to college,
Yeah.
and then you dropped out after the first semester?
No, I'm still going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you didn't start until you were 24?
I was 23 at the time when I
And what
applied.
are you studying?
I'm studying criminal justice.
Okay. All right, I will appoint an attorney. Missy, do you know who that will be?
No, I do not.
All right, you call back here Friday to my office to find out who your attorney is.
May I get the number, please?
Yes, Missy, can you give her the number to call, please? Call Friday, find out who your attorney is. Then call that attorney.
Okay.
For me, it's very annoying to appoint an attorney and then the person doesn't even have the ambition to call. So be sure and call the attorney and be ready to go for your next court date. And Missy, when is her court date?
November 18th at 1:30.
November 18th at 1:30. Be back here with your attorney. Now, we have to decide what to do about that warrant. I can make you turn yourself in there in Alaska, but I don't want to have to make the sheriff pay to go get you. Maybe they want to go there. It's a lovely place, I'm sure, this time of year. But Ms. Gillette, what's your thought on that, on the warrant?
If the warrant's lifted, I would like her to call court services each week so that we know where she is.
Do you have a position on whether it's lifted or not?
If it's, I'm fine being lifted if she calls court services every week.
Under Sheriff Cox, does your office take a position on what to do about that warrant?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Okay.
I am fine with you and Ms. Gillette lifting that warrant, but I would like to see a $50,000 OR bond where she turns herself into local law enforcement, and that way we know exactly where she is, because I have information that she's actually in Pueblo, Colorado, not Alaska.
Pueblo?
Yes.
No.
Who was the gentleman walking around behind you in the picture a while ago?
Oh, that's my friend.
Well, who is he?
His name's Dale.
Dale what?
Dale Whitman.
Dale Whitman? How do you spell that?
One second.
Well, just have him come on up here.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. Can you put your face in this camera, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that was on the video. I apologize for my appearance.
Okay. All right. Your name is Dale Whitman. Is that right?
That is incorrect. It's A.M.
A.M. And how are you connected or related to this young lady?
I'm a friend, and I specifically met her friend, Aaron, who was involved in the same case.
Okay. And where do you live?
I live in Green Mountain Falls, Colorado.
And you're at home right now?
I am.
What's your address?
My address is Green Mountain Falls, Colorado, 80819.
All right. Thank you, sir. You said, what was the name of the town in Colorado again? Green Mountain?
Green Mountain Falls. Very
Green
small
Mountain.
town, population of about approximately 2,000.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome. Miss Green,
Yes.
you just lied to me. You said you weren't in Colorado. Well, what'd you say, Officer? New Mexico? But you told me you were in Alaska. Remember when this hearing started and you said you were in Alaska?
Oh.
Why'd you lie to me? You realize you put me in a position where I can't trust anything you tell me now. So tell me why you lied. What was the point of that?
I just don't. Because I forgot to tell the person I call into weekly that I decided to go back to Colorado before my court date. But I was thinking about, or my mom was going to get me a plane ticket back to Alaska.
Your mom doesn't happen to be there, does she?
Huh?
Does your mom happen to be in the house with you there?
Oh, no. But I can give you her information and stuff.
Well, I've got some information on that bond that you're costing her. Well, I was ready to set aside your warrant, but then you lied and said you're in Alaska, and I find out you're in Colorado. And Undersheriff, did you say you had information that she'd been in New Mexico?
No, I said Colorado, Your Honor.
Okay.
Initially, it was Pueblo.
Oh, okay. Pueblo is what I was thinking of, and that's not New Mexico. All right. Does that change anybody's recommendations since she flat lied?
I think the warrant should stand, Your Honor.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. We're going to leave that warrant out for you. I'll leave your court date. You can still call back and find out who your attorney is, but if you're smart, you'll go down to your local sheriff and turn yourself in on your warrant.
Please, is there any way that you can just lift the warrant? I'm so
Well, I would have if you hadn't lied to me.
I'm so sorry.
But like I said, I can't believe anything you tell me now. I mean, you just sat there and looked at the camera and just flat lied.
I'm sorry. I'm just really been stressed out. My uncle, who was like my best friend, just passed away while I was in jail. That's why we were going out to Georgia, is because he passed away.
Where were you going?
To Savannah, Georgia.
Weren't you going the wrong direction from Kansas?
I don't believe so.
You were going to Savannah, Georgia because your uncle just passed. You were in Kansas and you ended up in Colorado. Is that right?
No, before I got arrested, I was going to Savannah, Georgia. I was just following the maps, like where the maps told me to go.
But you ended up in Colorado. Those are opposite directions.
Before I went back to Colorado, before I got out of jail. Before I even got arrested, I was heading to Savannah, Georgia, because my uncle was on his deathbed. It was really, we were pretty close. And it was my mom's last living family member, because my grandma and my aunt had passed away like a couple months before that. And so it's been really hard.
And your mom's in what state right now?
She's in Palmer, Alaska.
And she came all the way to Kansas in September to post your cash bond? Is that right?
She was in Savannah, Georgia, when I called her, praying, like seeing her brother in the hospital, dealing with that, and then she came to Kansas to bail me out.
So she was in Savannah, Georgia, dealing with her brother on death's door, passing away, and then she had to drop everything there and come to Kansas and put up $7,500 cash to get you out of jail. And then you failed to come to court for the day you made bond. And now you have lied today and told me you were in Alaska when in fact you are in Colorado. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And you're accused of having possessed methamphetamine and drug paraphernalia. Well, how in the world did Greenwood County end up having to deal with you? How did you end up here? You're on the way to Georgia and you got, what, stopped for traffic?
Yeah, pulled over, I guess, for speeding. I believe that's what the original thing was for, and the person driving didn't stop. They just kept going.
Are you related to the person driving?
No.
Who were you with?
My ex-boyfriend.
Okay, what's his name?
Aaron Berg.
Aaron Berg, I think he's on the docket too. And is that a tattoo or a scar, or what is that above your eyebrow there?
It's a tattoo.
And what's it say?
Calypsia.
What does that mean?
It's the delusion of seeing things more beautiful than they really are.
Well, I was curious because I saw that, I think, in the same place on another girl earlier today. Do you know anybody else in this area that has that on?
No.
Okay. Well, how far are you from the nearest law enforcement office, if you know?
Like 45 minutes to an hour, maybe.
Do you
In
normally,
downtown Colorado Springs.
okay, and do you normally stay at this gentleman's house? Is this where you're staying right now?
Just frequently, like
Well, where are you going to be between now and your next court date?
here and or in Manitou Springs.
And who do you know in Manitou Springs?
Suzanne.
What's Suzanne's last name?
I don't know.
Family, friend, acquaintance?
A friend.
Well, I'm going to have you sit there for a little bit while I think about what I'm going to do with you, okay?
Okay.
All right. So we're going to take a recess from Miss Green's case. We're going to take up Van Doty. Missy, could you put under Sheriff Cox and me in a breakout room and Miss Gillette?
Yes.
Thank you. Are you still with me, Miss Green? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you told me, did you tell me you're going to turn yourself in or not?
Oh, I mean, yeah. My friend wanted to, if it was okay, talk to the courts.
All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Good afternoon again, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Again, I apologize for the way I look. I've been home here painting windows. I haven't heard all of the proceedings here, but I did hear the part, everything from the time I first spoke to you and after that. And if it would help the court at all, I would be willing to guarantee that she would stay here for at least the next 3 or 4 days. I'm a renter. It's a large house, 8-bedroom house, so there's plenty of room for her. But when my landlord who's out of town, if she okays it when she gets back, Ms. Green could stay here for an even extended period of time. But I can't promise that right now. But I can promise the court that I can guarantee her whereabouts, at least for the near future.
Okay, so you live in an 8-bedroom house?
I do. I rent an 8-bedroom house, but I also do a lot of maintenance here. I'm painting the windows right now as part of my rent. It's a beautiful house, but it needs some work, and that's what I'm doing.
Where'd you say your address was?
Green Mountain Falls, Colorado, 80819.
Okay, you lost me now. And is there any kind, so apparently there's not an apartment number to it if it's a house?
No apartment number.
Okay, Foster Avenue.
Correct.
And the name again, I'm sorry, was it Green?
That's fine. Green Mountain Falls. It's a gorgeous town here, located just 15 miles west of Colorado Springs.
Excuse me, sir. Did you say?
Did.
Okay.
Okay, and what county are you in?
El Paso.
El Paso. And what is your connection to this young lady? She was kind of vague on that.
Yeah, there's no real clear connection, I guess. I first met her friend, the one who's also involved in this case. His name is Aaron, and met Miss Green through that, and just kind of befriended them a little bit, and would talk to them and see them around town from time to time and things like that. And that's about the entire connection. It hasn't gone on very long, but it's been, I feel I know her well enough that I could guarantee the court of her whereabouts, and if there's any problem, you can bet I'll contact you, because I'm not going to jeopardize my freedom or anything else by.
Well, did you hear us talking about how her mother had posted a $7,500 cash bond and she skipped out on that?
I did.
So her mom's going to lose $7,500, but you're still feeling confident enough you can keep her around?
I think I can, Your Honor. And if I can't, you'll be the first one I call.
So, and you know that she's looking at some serious charges here.
Yes, I understand.
Okay.
But to be honest, I don't see how that affects me in any way. As long as whatever I tell you, I do.
But if she's staying in your house and she's possessing felony drugs,
not going to happen. I can guarantee you she will not possess felony drug in my house. I can guarantee you that.
And is her co-defendant staying with you out there as well?
No, ma'am.
Oh, here. Bible.
I'm sorry.
What?
Oh.
What'd you say?
My dog is barking at somebody outside, but.
So you have a dog with you there in Colorado also?
Yeah, he's my little Chiweenie.
Okay. And what kind of work do you do, sir?
I've retired, ma'am. Previously, I had a business called I sold technology, is where the wide terminology anyhow, to the public sector, state, local, federal agencies, things like that.
Okay. And if I tell you to drive her to the local sheriff, would you do it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I thought I had it figured out what I was going to do with her. Give me a few more minutes. Let me take out this Reynolds so she doesn't have to keep working.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, let me check back in with Karis Green. Miss Green, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, Miss Green, what's going on with you? You've changed locations.
Huh?
You've changed locations. You're outside now. We're back on the record in 2022. CR 136, State versus Karis Green. Parties appearing as before. Where are you now? You look like you've gone outside.
Oh, I'm just on the balcony.
Okay.
Yeah, his nice house.
Okay. All right. I've given you a court date. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, November 18th.
You must be here November 18th. At what time?
At 1:30.
1:30. Missy, is that what you show?
You want to
11:18 at 1:30. Yeah.
Okay. You've got an attorney? Or you're going
I do not.
You're going to call Friday and find out who it is?
I am, yes, ma'am.
And then we've got a bond hearing for motion for judgment on bond, Ms. Gillette, is that right?
Yes, it's on November 18th.
Is it at 1:30 also?
It's at 1 just before that.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's
It was
put her,
certified mailed to her last known address where her mom lives.
at least where she said her mom lived.
She'll forward it to me here in Greenwood County. When she
Okay.
was,
Let's just put her at 1 o'clock instead of putting her on both 1 and 1:30. And,
Can we just do it 1:30 since we have a docket?
okay, we'll just do it at 1:30. And I'm going to leave her bond active, or her warrant active.
you're gonna leave my warrant. Is there any way you could quash it? Ma'am, I know I messed up.
Don't use that language in court. That's contempt.
I'm so sorry. I know I messed up big time. And I really apologize for lying to you in your court. That was really not a good idea.
I don't think you've ever told me yet why you actually lied and said you were in Alaska right now. You want to try again?
Tell her the entire truth and let her know that we're here right now.
I just thought maybe I would get in trouble because I hadn't told you guys that I went back to Colorado.
Okay.
And
Whose voice was that I just heard?
that is Marshall
Who's Marshall?
Goings.
Law enforcement is on.
All right. Are you there for her on her warrant, Marshall? All right.
I am.
But
Again, why didn't you tell me you had a marshal there to take you into custody?
I was getting to that. I was.
All right. Okay. Well, you're going with him now. Then we're going to quit playing games and.
I wasn't trying to play games with you, miss, and I really apologize for lying to you in your court. It wasn't right. I just trying to do the right thing.
I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off there. You've taken enough time of the officer. How long's he been there?
Just took like 5 minutes.
All right. Well, you go with him. You go with him. All right. Thank you.
What's my bail at?
Well, he can tell you when he gets you down there and looks at your warrant. You better call your mom and tell her you cost her $7,500 on her bond. And we'll be in recess at this time. Thank you, officer.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry, but. All right. Can't believe that. I'm sorry. I'll call 1-5.
Can you please
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody, don't take. Go with these guys. Don't. That's all you can do. It's not going to be that tough. I'll watch the dog. The dog will be fine. I guarantee you that.
We get confirmation.
Yes.
3 more minutes and we'll send a second.
Dog is going nuts. You guys aren't here.
On the record in 2022 CR 136, State of Kansas versus Karis Juna Green. Is Miss Green here?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have lab reports on Miss Green's case?
No, Your Honor, we don't. Or I'm not aware of any. Still might have it, but.
Not have lab reports. Judge, I did get a bond violation information sheet from Court Services Jessica Morgan. Miss Green is not reporting on her bond supervision like she is supposed to. Her bond included a requirement to report to Court Services weekly And she's supposed to be calling in Tuesdays at 8:30 a.m. Has not done so.
All right, first order of business, we have no lab reports. This happened July 29th, but we still don't have lab reports in November. All right. No labs. This too will be continued to January 20th. Much to my displeasure, January 20th at 1:30. Second order of business. Last time I talked to Miss, hold on a minute.
Thanks.
Okay, I said that wrong. Well, this happened August 23rd, and we still don't have lab reports. But nevertheless, January 20th at 1:30. Miss Green, where are you? And this time, tell me the truth.
I'm in Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Did you show up for that extradition hearing the following day after our last conversation? Well, let's start over. Do you remember our last conversation?
Yeah, when I got out of jail.
Do you remember our conversation on Zoom in court?
Yeah, that you weren't going to you were going to keep my warrant active.
And I believe the marshals took you into custody, right?
Yeah, and I went to jail.
And you had and they set you an extradition hearing. Do you remember that?
Yeah, but I never got any of the information for that. Because I remember it was supposed to be on Thursday, but I was still in jail during that time.
My understanding is you missed a court date out there. You failed to appear. What do you have to say about that?
Okay, so after I got out of jail, my laptop and my antibiotics and my phone got stolen and my purse. And so then I got really sick. I had to it was pretty bad. And I had to go to the hospital and get antibiotics, just yeah.
So are you still staying with that kind gentleman that you were with when you saw me last?
No, I'm not. I haven't had any contact with him.
All right. Where are you now?
I'm over off of, I'm in downtown Colorado Springs.
Well, I want an exact address. Where are you?
I am at, I need to find the address. Sorry.
Let me know when you have it.
There it goes.
So, Miss Green, you don't know off the top of your head what your address is?
It's 3,000 and 3,030 West Pikes Peak Avenue.
West Pikes Peak Avenue?
Yeah.
Colorado Springs, Colorado. What's your zip code?
80904.
Okay. 30904?
80904.
Say that again, please. I'm not getting it right.
80904. And I lost Jessica Morgan's number, and I've been trying to get it, but I didn't know where her number was at. And
okay, I tried calling her. That zip code's not working out for me.
80904.
And then dash something else?
I don't know the dash.
All right. Okay. All right. And who are you living with there?
I'm living with my friend Roy.
Your friend Roy? What's Roy's last name?
Smith.
Roy Smith. Okay. Is he in any trouble with the law?
No.
Okay. All right. So you failed to attend the court hearing you had in Colorado. Is that right?
Yes. Yes. I need to call Colorado, my attorney in Colorado, and see if I can get something figured out with that, because I was really sick at the time of that. Okay. And then I just got over a really bad pneumonia type cold.
Pneumonia like cold. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have an attorney in Colorado. Who's your attorney?
I don't know it off the top of my head. I just remember that they kept the attorney that I had when I went to jail, just in case something were to happen. So I will call them after this and get that information.
Okay. So Miss
And
Miss Gillette, are you wanting to take up some kind of motion hearing today?
Judge, we would just say that we would like the warrant to continue and the warrant to continue with no bond. She needs to.
Well, I'm not going to take the motion up and make all these other people wait. So let me once again, Ms. Green, put you on hold and let me come back. Let's take up some of these other people that don't have the kind of issues you do. So I'm going to be in recess on Green. Don't go away, Ms. Green.
Okay.
Okay, so Ms. Green is in Colorado Springs at 30. Well, we've already got that. Now, Ms. Green, you seem to be having a situation where you want to appear on your time instead of the court's time. I told you the last time you phoned in for a Zoom hearing to make sure that you surrendered on all your warrants. Have you done that?
I need to work on that. Like I said, I didn't have a phone, and it was like other people around me didn't have a phone. Like they wouldn't have service, and it's like this whole big mess. But I did get a job.
Well, before we go to your job, let's talk about these warrants.
Yeah.
Since I'm in Kansas, and you said you were in Alaska, but in reality you were in Colorado.
Yeah.
And you're not turning yourself in on your warrants, and you're managing to get Zoom codes and call in on Zoom ever so often. What am I going to do with you?
I know that I made a big mistake for missing court that day. Trust me, I really wish I could go back time and just...
Mr. Ambrose, I don't know if you're familiar with this Miss Green's history, but I think I've just summed it up. She's kind of waving it in the court's face that I can't get her here in person when I tell her to, and I can't get her to turn herself in on warrants when I tell her to.
I'm not trying to wave it in your face. I was just trying to show up for court.
Show up for court on her terms. At the last hearing, she told me she was in Alaska at the beginning of the hearing. Come to find out she was actually in Colorado. I believe she was actually arrested while she was in the Zoom hearing.
Yeah.
How many warrants, Miss Green, do you have out right now, if you know?
I just have yours and then Colorado's, but Colorado would go away if we were able to like settle this Kansas's warrant.
So they have you on a failure to appear warrant on the extradition.
Yes, that I.
So, Mr. Ambrose, do you have any
mixed up with the
Let's see if Mr. Ambrose has anything to say on this, sir.
Yes, Your Honor. So, like you said, I'm relatively new to this, and I knew that there was some extradition stuff going on. Wasn't sure the full extent of that. What my request would be, Your Honor, is that while we've had some, it sounds like there's been some issues prior to me getting involved. She has appeared here today. She has been in contact with me. I had a phone appointment with her earlier this week. Our request would be that the warrant be lifted with, the understanding that she has to be showing up for future hearings. She did inform me that she was in Colorado when I spoke with her the other day as well. That's consistent. We ask that warrant be lifted and that we continue moving forward. We do have it set for a status on 1/20 of 22 at 1:30. And I understand that it sounds like she got herself quite sideways with the court before I got involved, and I will do what I can to make sure that that is not an issue again.
I also need Jessica's number.
You need whose number?
Jessica Morgan's number.
Well, and she's your bond supervisor? And you have Ms. Morgan, I understand she has not been seeing you, staying in contact with you?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Has she made any contact with you at all?
She has contacted me right after, I have the notes here. She called me 2 days after court, and we discussed that she would call me Tuesdays, 8:30, every week. She had her first appointment on October 4th, and she did not call. So I contacted her number, and it was disconnected on the 13th. Also contacted another number in Odyssey, and it was her mother's number, and I was provided her new contact number, and she did not answer. She did contact me on October 15th, but that was a Saturday at 10:45 p.m. After that, I have not heard from her.
Were you available to take her call on the Saturday after 5?
Your Honor, it was at 10:45 p.m.
Oh, 10:45. So the answer is no. You weren't there. You didn't have a conversation.
Correct.
Okay. All right, Ms. Gillette, what has the state to say on this issue?
Your Honor, we have continual problems with Ms. Green not coming to court. I'd like to get her case wrapped up and done. I am still waiting on the lab results, but she misses court, then she calls in and wants it rescheduled on her time. She's got outstanding warrant for her extradition in Colorado because she didn't show back up for it. She's been dishonest with the court, not reporting to her CSO. Got the second chance to report to CSO. I mean, the court has been over backwards for Ms. Green is not bending over backwards for the court. At this point, all she's done is be untruthful and not show up. That's all I got to say.
Okay. Under Sheriff Cox, have you anything to add?
I completely agree with the state's opinion, and I feel that she needs to do the right thing and go turn herself in.
Well, we know I've told her that I don't know how many times. Okay, I'm going to tell you, Ms. Green, the warrant's going to remain active under Sheriff Cox. I want to make sure there's a no bond hold on that so they don't, if I can help it, they won't release her on a bond where she can fail to come to court like last time.
We'll need to update that, Mr. Gillette.
Whatever we need to do to get a no bond hold on that, if they will honor that. And
they will, Your Honor.
Okay, because if we get our hands on her again, I don't want her running off again because she hasn't kept her word to them and their bond any more than she has to me and our bond.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you going to turn yourself in, Ms. Green? Ms. Green, was that an answer?
What?
Are you going to turn yourself in?
Yeah, I've been trying to work on it.
When are you going to turn yourself in?
As soon as I can get the money to get down there. I just started a job.
Turn yourself into Colorado.
The jail there is really bad.
What was that?
Listen, Miss Green.
The jail
you're gonna
in
get
Colorado is really bad.
You're going to get a free ride from us here. You don't need money to get here. And you have to take care of your Colorado warrant also.
I know, but my Colorado warrant would go away. The charge would be dropped if I were to get the warrant quashed in Kansas.
Well, your Kansas warrant isn't going to be quashed.
I don't
believe you're going to turn yourself in, and I think you're going to get, as Under Sheriff Cox said, a trip to Kansas, courtesy of the taxpayers, because I can't trust you to turn yourself in. And so, if she showed, Mr. Gross.
Yes, a couple quick things before we wrap this up. I'm sorry for cutting in, Judge. So, with the status of this now, and kind of the tenor of the court to where we're at right now, do you still want to keep that preliminary hearing status set for January 20th, or do you not want to set it for future proceedings at this point, or how do you want to handle that, since she does have that outstanding warrant that has to be resolved before we can do anything else?
Well, I'm going to tentatively leave it on there in case we get her, we can use it.
Okay.
You see any problem with leaving it on the docket as a...
No, Your Honor. I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page. And then secondly...
Yeah, but I am going to order that she appear personally for that hearing and not by Zoom.
Okay. And secondly, Your Honor, and I don't know what language is normally used in the 8th, or in your judicial district. I'm sorry, not the 8th. You're not the 8th. In your judicial district for these no bond hold warrants, but is the language used normally no bond set until first appearance then?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Just making sure that that's the language we were using. I appreciate that, Your Honor.
Yes. No bond hold till she sees the judge. And maybe that's where it went wrong in Colorado. Maybe Under Sheriff, is that what happened there? They set a bond that she could make and then she didn't show up?
Yes, they did an extradition bond through their court system. We have never received a return on the original $7,000 bond even from us.
I have to have certain paperwork from the Colorado courts to do the governor's warrant, and she hasn't even got to that point because she didn't show up for her hearing there.
Okay.
Because we're prepared to do the governor's warrant as soon as we get that information so that we can bring her out here to finish her case.
Well, I know a lot of courts will accept the bond recommendations that go with the warrant. So maybe rather than no bond hold, I just need to set a very high bond to try to assure her appearance. Under Sheriff Cox, have you had any experience there with Colorado to know whether I'm better off with a no bond hold or setting a very high bond?
No bond hold, Your Honor.
Okay.
I don't believe they can set an extradition bond there if she's on a no bond hold.
All right. Well, I want to make sure I get you back here, Miss Green, and I just haven't been able to do it any other way. All right. Anything further, Mr. Ambrose?
Not for me, Judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gillette, anything further from the state?
Not on this matter, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you all. We'll be adjourned.
She needs Miss Morgan's phone number, Your Honor.
Oh, can we put them in a...
Is there really going to be any value? I mean, are we going to just be tying up Miss Morgan's time if she's not even going to be really on bond? At this point, she's not really on bond as I see it.
No, she's not.
She can tell Miss Morgan where she is, but it sounds like she changes addresses and phone numbers so fast, you can't keep up with her. So I'm not going to make Miss
I told
Morgan
you I got
anymore.
my phone stolen. And my phone stolen. I was in the hospital. I got sick.
Okay, but you're well now. Are you?
I still have a pretty bad bronchitis cough.
This person you're staying with, is that a good friend that you've known for a long time?
Well, I only got to Colorado in March of 2025, minus a month
So
because
it's
I was
just
in Vegas. So anybody
move
that I
around
know
so
here
much?
is from March. But yeah, I
Why
trust
are you
them.
moving around so much?
Huh?
Why are you moving around so much? You said you were going to go to Alaska and stay with your mother. All right, we'll be in recess at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. 13th Judicial District, the District Court of Greenwood County. Please make sure you're muted so we don't get the feedback. On the record in Greenwood County case number 2022, CR 136, State of Kansas versus Karras, Juno Green. The state appearing by and through County Attorney Jill Gillette, Miss Green appearing in person and pro se from the Greenwood County Jail, where she has a no bond hold. This is concerning charges of possession of opium, narcotic, or certain other drug, specifically the drug methamphetamine, a level 5 drug felony, as well as unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia, a class B misdemeanor. Ms. Green, you've been on the run for some time, on the lam, as they used to say. Welcome back to Greenwood County. Have you heard from your attorney yet? We did notify your attorney that you were going to be back in court and that you were going to have the first appearance following your return. I don't know if Mr. Ambrose has had time to reach you yet or not. Have you heard from Mr. Ambrose? Could we get her volume turned up at the jail? I'm not hearing you. Still not hearing you.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
I called him before I turned myself in.
All right. And so
I didn't know I was in Kansas.
I'm sorry?
I called him before I turned myself in.
Okay. Well, let's see. We can either set this for an evidentiary preliminary hearing or set it for a preliminary hearing control. Ms. Gillette, appearing for the state, do you have a preference?
No, Judge, I don't really have a preference one way or the other. Her attorney on this matter was Mr. Ambrose at one time.
And he still is her attorney. And we certainly should have the drug lab test back, don't we?
Her and the co-defendant. Her co-defendant, I believe he fled not too long ago.
Remind me what his name was, please.
I believe it was Mr. Berg.
Does that sound right, Miss Green? You and Mr. Berg were together?
Vehicle, yeah.
I'm sorry, can you speak up or get closer to the microphone?
In the vehicle, yeah.
Okay. You still have contact with him?
No.
Okay, you're not supposed to be, but just checking.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Miss Gillette, again, you have lab report or lab results back?
I thought we did because Mr. Berg just pled on him.
You think we need to set this for evidentiary hearing or set it for PHC? I don't want to lose track of her again. Well, so you don't have a preference, Miss Gillette?
I do not. I think Mr. Ambrose would probably like a PHC since he hasn't talked to his client in months and she's just now back.
Well, she said she talked to him before she turned herself in here recently. Missy, do you have any word on that? Did you hear from Mr. Ambrose yet?
I have not heard from him, so I was going to suggest that we put it on the PHC docket on March 3rd when I know he's going to be here, and then if they decide they want an evidentiary hearing, maybe we can get that set up.
All right. We'll set it for preliminary hearing control March 3rd. Now, if he calls us and lets us know he wants an evidentiary hearing before then, he can do that. But I am not comfortable turning you loose again, Miss Green. I credit you for your mother turning you back in. She probably didn't want to lose that money she put out. But, you know, you could always get in a state of mind that you want to run, and then there you go again. So, including the stories you've told me and the absences you've had, I have you on a no bond hold now. Mr. Ambrose might argue that you're entitled to some type of bond, but I'd have to set it high enough that I know you're not going to take off again. So are you wanting to be heard on the bond now, or do you want to wait and talk to Mr. Ambrose?
I would like to discuss bond.
Okay, you're gonna have to get closer to that microphone and tell me what you want me to consider.
I mean, I would like to consider an OR bond with ankle monitor.
That's not gonna happen, Miss Green. Can't trust you on that.
Or a 15,000 or 1,500 cash only bond.
1,500 cash only bonds?
A 1,500 cash only bond.
That's
Yeah.
what, double what your mother paid the first time?
No, it is like a quarter of it, like 1,500.
August 23rd, 2022, you posted a 7,500 cash bond, or your mother did, right?
Yeah.
And you're wanting me to reduce that bond now that she's brought you back to 1,500?
Well, when I got booked in, they told me my bond, I didn't have it. When I turned myself in, they said my bond was at 15,000. They didn't tell me I was on a no bond hold. This is new to me.
Well, there's a difference between 15,000 and at one time it was set at 15,000. But then
I only
missed a couple court dates. And after you told me you were in Alaska and you turned out to be in Colorado and we were going to have to extradite you back, I said no bond, hold until you see me. So that's why you weren't given a bond when you checked in. But now I think I heard you say you didn't, that not 15,000 as it once was, but 1,500. Did I hear that right or not?
Yeah, it's only because I'm not from this state, and so the bondsman wouldn't, like, you know.
Mm-hmm. He wouldn't take a risk for you.
Yeah, and I bonded out in Colorado, and I have a bondsman in Colorado, where I have a place to stay and a job. I had a job on that last court day. I was working at Wendy's, but then you wanted me to turn myself in.
But you didn't turn yourself in, did you? Not in Colorado, like I told you to.
No.
And then your mom somehow got you in the car and drove you back here to Kansas. Is that right?
Yeah.
Did she do that so that she could get her bond money back?
No. I was in Colorado, and she's like, how about this? You know, I was sitting in Colorado jail since the 14th of January, and then I got out, and then I turned myself in within the 7 days. And she was like, while I was in jail in El Paso County, she was like, how about this? I'll come see you, and we can go to Kansas together. It was more of like, she wanted to see me more than like she wanted to turn me in. It was both of our decisions because I don't want to run. I don't want to have a warrant. I want to start my life. I want to have a job, you know. And when I got that job at Wendy's, I can go back there, you know, and so
Okay.
I just want to get this over with.
Let's see what Ms. Gillette has to say about your bond. Ms. Gillette, any recommendations from the state?
Judge, we were in the process of obtaining a governor's warrant for Ms. Green. So I went no less than $50,000. And, you know, I think an EMD is a good idea because she takes off. You know, she stayed in Colorado for a long time, lied to us, had to send Colorado officers after her. She skipped out on her extradition bond and warrant out there, and missed one of her hearings there in Colorado. So it's been real hard to get her back from another state. Frankly, I don't want her in another state because I'm afraid I'm going to have to send another warrant after her. You know, she has ties to Alaska. If she ends up there, we have to skip over another country to bring her back. I'm sure one of the guys would like to go elk hunting while they're up there, but that's not a practical thing for the rest of us to have to do and very expensive. So I think that a significant bond, maybe even 100,000, so that she isn't somewhere else. I mean, I just don't have any trust that she's coming to court.
Well, she's supposed to be a citizen of Alaska, isn't she? Isn't that truly her home?
I don't. I just want to be able to get through the case before she takes off again.
Okay. Okay. And how did she get out of custody when we were doing the governor's warrant on her? How did she, I mean, as I recall, I witnessed your signature. You gave me an affidavit. Isn't this the case you did all of that on just a couple of weeks ago or less?
She had an extradition bond in Colorado. They gave her an extradition bond, and she was out on an extradition bond and skipped out on their court as well. And she didn't want to be extradited back to Kansas. So I was in the process of getting a governor's warrant for her to bring her back to Kansas.
Well, and I thought I had a no bond hold on her.
You did, Your Honor. But evidently Colorado, even after this going through 2 times, does not honor your bond. They give them extradition bonds with the condition she turns herself in here in 7 days or goes back to their jail within that time frame.
The first time we tried that, she didn't go back to their court.
Exactly, Your Honor.
And then she showed up here by Zoom court, but not in custody. It's been one long convoluted mess trying to keep track of her. Thank you, Under Sheriff Cox, for that information. So I'm going to set your bond at 100,000. Now you and your attorney can talk, and if you do make that bond, it will require an electronic monitoring device. Then you're not, as a condition of your bond, allowed to leave the state of Kansas. But I even at 100,000, I'm leery, Ms. Green, because you've demonstrated to me that you have an unusual ability to get out of jail and get around and get folks to help you so that you're not in court. Your mother had no trouble coming up with the $7,500 cash bond. I can't remember what southern state she came back from a funeral to post that bond for you. So I'm just really concerned about keeping track of you, and I think that's what I'm going to set that at, to hopefully keep you in place. But once you and your attorney talk again, maybe we can revisit that bond issue. But at least in jail, I know where you are. I know you're being fed. I don't have to worry. You know, I've worried even about, is there a chance you've been trafficked by people, misused? Is that any concern that I justifiably should have? And remind me again what the tattoo on your forehead says.
It says Calypsia.
Spelled it for me. Calypsia.
Yeah, it's Kalopsia.
Oh, you went way too fast. K-A what?
Lopsia.
Calypsia. And what does that mean?
It's the delusion of seeing things more beautiful than they really are.
And where did you come up with that?
I like words. I like looking at different words. Like,
okay. It's not, it doesn't represent someone's name or
no, it's just a
authority
word.
or anything
It's
like
Greek.
that? It's Greek.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I think I told you I've seen forehead writing like that before. I don't know if it's the same word, but
No.
But not only do I worry about what you've done to violate society's rules, but I also am concerned about you yourself and what kind of danger you pose to yourself as well as to others, the way you disappear. And so also, if you make bond, I want you to do a bond review every week. So you'll have to check in with one of our bond supervisors, and you'll be subject to random UAs. Make sure you're not using any illegal substances. Missy, do you want to let the jail know who her supervisor will be?
I think she had one from
Oh, I think she did too. It was,
before,
and she didn't keep the appointment, so that's kind of worthless.
so I'll have to check out and see who it was.
Okay, Miss Green, if you get out, don't keep putting us through this, because it's going to get harder and harder for you once we do keep up with it. Let's get this resolved.
Like I said, that's all I want is to get this resolved and start my life.
Okay, all right. Well, and Missy, when did you set this for? March 3rd at what time, 1:30?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else we need to address on this matter, Ms. Gillette?
I don't believe so, Your Honor. I'll get a hold of Mr. Ambrose.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Make sure he has his lab reports and everything he needs. Anything you want to address, Ms. Green, before I let you go back to the custody of the sheriff there?
No.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
No, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. You may go at this time.